biggest and strangest mysteries in the world solved finally. The secret of the Bermuda Triangle. Have you heard of the Bermuda Triangle, also known as the Devil's Triangle? It's the stretch of water between Florida, Puerto Rico, and Bermuda that, according to legend, is home to a malevolent power that causes airplanes, boats, and people to vanish, never to be seen again. Extraterrestrial aliens kidnapping humans for research, interdimensional vortices, and even oceanic flatulence, methane gas erupting from ocean sediments, have all been blamed. But the Bermuda Triangle's true mystery is that people are also keen to believe in it. Lawrence David Cush, a librarian and pilot, published his investigation of the phenomenon in 1975. As he looked at the government records on ships that paranormal writers had depicted as mysteriously disappearing, he discovered that they mostly sank in poor weather or were involved in crashes, and that debris was sometimes retrieved. Similarly, the U.S. Coast Guard's website states that the service does not consider the so-called Bermuda Triangle as a geographic area of specific danger to ships or aircraft, and that no anomalies have been discovered since investigating incidents there. Was Umbrella Man involved in the JFK execution? The appearance of Umbrella Man during President John F. Kennedy's execution in Dallas in 1963 was one of the strangest mysteries of the execution. Even though the sky was blue, this blurry figure is seen in photos lifting a black umbrella along the presidential street. Some saw him as evidence of a plot, as an advanced man signaling the hired man. Others accused him of being a professional executor, with a poison dart rifle hidden in his parasol. How were the pyramids built? Proponents of the theory that extraterrestrial explorers jump-started human society in the late 1960s and early 1970s cited the Egyptian pyramids as convincing evidence. They said that the ancient Egyptians couldn't have lifted the giant multi-ton stone blocks using just muscle strength, and that alien anti-gravity technology was a more, logical cause. Fortunately, physicists from the University of Amsterdam appeared in 2014 to save us from paperback pseudoscience. They pointed out that a big team of workers should have hauled the massive stone blocks on a sled and dumped water on the sand in their way to minimize friction and making it easier to pull the blocks to the pyramid by studying an ancient tomb drawing. Other scholars believe the Egyptians used clay as a lubricant, and it is possible they used more than one tool. Sailing stones in California. At California's Death Valley there are hundreds of trails from large, rough blocks of rock in the aptly named Racetrack Playa. It clearly means the stones are moving, but nobody pushes them, and no one has seen them move. Supernatural theories for the phenomenon include the rocks being remains of a UFO crash, mysterious unseen hands that move the rocks, or magnetic fields of some kind. So what was the best way to figure out how these creepy rocks were moving? Fit them with GPS units, use time-lapse cameras and study the weather, obviously. Scientists figured out that although Death Valley is blisteringly hot in the summer, its highest recorded temperature stands at 56.7 degrees Celsius. During the mild winter, rain collects to form a shallow lake, which subsequently freezes into thin sheets when the temperatures drop at night. In the morning, the sun warms the ice, which breaks into small plates. If a plate is under a rock, which can weigh over 300 kilograms, wind and flowing water slowly pushes it. A rock can move 224 meters in the winter, leaving a trail in the mud. The Nazca Lines of Peru. Discovered in the 1930s, when we could finally fly high enough, the Nazca Lines are massive white geoglyphs, some being 275 meters across, made from shallow lines dug into the ground. The whole area is about 190 square miles, 500 square kilometers. They are thought to have religious significance to the Nazca culture. Given that airplanes are thought to have been in short supply between 500 BCE and 500 CE, how could the Nazca people see what they were doing? Author Jim Woodman thought it could have been done by using a basic hot air balloon and shouting directions to the diggers below. To test the theory, Woodman made a functioning balloon with materials they would have had back then. The only problem is there is no proof the Nazca people even knew what a balloon was. Popped that theory. However, wooden stakes at the site, carbon dated to the Nazca period, have given researchers a hunch that people at the time may have drawn long ropes between stakes to make the lines. So Dr. Joe Nickel and 3 assistants, including an 11-year-old, used the method to make a giant bird. And it only took them a few hours.